Our first order of business is the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all for joining us. Wendy, I'll have it noted that Keith Plouffe is in the building with the 5 selectmen or people.
Okay. How's he rate?
He's got his 10 square feet.
Yep. So Keith wants to come in under public comment for Memorial Day business.
The pocket for each one of you. First thing we'd like to talk about is Memorial Day itself. The parade is going to start at noon at the arena. It's going to come down Gore Road. It's going to take a right on 78, going all the way to 207. Take a left, go down, cross the park to Luke Street. Take a left on Abruzzo Road and a right on the back side of Park Street. Back up Route 207 and end at the parking lot. Our goal this year is not to have anybody walking except the military, the honor guard has showed an interest in walking. If they do want to walk, they're only going to walk as far as this fire station and they're going to drop off. We will be playing taps and having a gun salute at each one of the monuments for 3 months. Fire department is going to be doing a drive-by barbecue. They will be entering the center road of the cemetery, coming up where we would normally be walking, driving right up through here, backside of the municipal complex, pick up their barbecue. And at the end of that, Sioux Cotto will be doing a drive-by food sale.
To benefit the Memorial Day Fund.
Yes, to benefit the Memorial Day Fund.
Now, I've been asked, do we know, is the fire department selling tickets prior to?
Not that I know. They did not say that, did they?
They said they were not doing.
They were not doing
Okay.
pre-sale. They are doing, I will know that they are doing 500 hats.
Yep.
First come, first serve. When they're gone, they're gone. Moving right along. Unfortunately, I ran out of ink. But the next item we're going to talk about is the monument. Richard Smith graciously went down to Camp Precast. We have 2 wings coming off the ends of our monument. They are donated by Camp Precast. They are made. They will be delivered within the next 2 weeks. Hopefully. The Highway Department, we met last Saturday with the Highway Department and the Memorial Day Committee. We measured out the highway graciously on Tuesday of this week. Took out the corner if you wanted, took out the dirt that had to be done, put in some stone for us that they had at the landfill. So, and you're gonna try to be around when we get ready to set this. They can't precast come, they can't spend a lot of time here. This is why we want it prepared. When they come to set it, we have to drop it and get a crane. It's $2,500 an hour per crane. We didn't want that. So one of our goals was on the monument. We wanted to put something about serving the veterans. We came up with this monument that the price is going to really scare you. 24 by 36. It's at $3,644. I went down and saw Sharon, talked to Sharon a little bit. We're maybe trying to do something else, like going over to a different company or Highgate or somewhere and have the 5 branches, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Coast Guard, and POW on the round circles. You can buy them, but they're 3 inches a piece and you're not going to show up.
Keith, I think, not to interrupt you, Keith, but I think we can go to Vermont Trophying and Engraving too and get some prices from them.
I have 18 different people out right now giving me prices back.
Okay.
Approximately the same price for that flat black. The other ones, we have to send a design in the whole 9 yards. I do, and as far as the concrete that's gonna go down, all I did was get a price per yard of concrete. And that runs about that's $134 a yard at 3,000 pound test for concrete. Our hopes and goal is to get a company to donate the concrete. The rebar is about $125. We want to make sure we put enough rebar in so it doesn't crack.
Did we have a estimate on how many yards concrete it would take?
No, I and Brian were supposed to figure that out for me.
Ty, were you able to figure out how much concrete that would need?
Yeah, we
Was it
talked about it last night, and I think we figured out it was about 12 and a half yards of concrete.
What?
4 inches thick?
How big?
The width of that whole center,
That whole center of the,
the whole center of the monument. Where we took out all the pavement. That's a long time. That ain't that much long.
28, I think it's 28 by 27 feet in diameter, and I think it's 5 inches thick.
These are pretty much rough estimates too. I mean, I spent so much time on it, you got to get.
Okay, and flag?
Okay, the flag. If you notice when you leave here, we took the flagpole out of the center. Right now, the flagpole is sitting behind the monument. It actually looks pretty good right there.
Oh.
So we're gonna talk about, originally we wanted to move this flagpole in the little part and put a new one over where the wooden one is. But the way this looks here, when you look, take a good look, because you may just leave it there.
I thought it was really good.
I think it looks good with the brown and the black. I think that looks
It
good.
looks really good.
That is correct, 11.66 yards.
On top of the monument, what we're gonna do, I think you have one of these sheets. Yeah, you do. You go to the one that says shopping cart wholesale lot 3x5 flag ranches. On the tops of the wings of the monument, we want to put Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine 3x5 flags mounted on the top of the monument. We'll take them down in the fall, we'll put them up in the spring. If this is right, a set of those, now these are just the flags, are $28.88 a piece. And that is right in line with everybody. They vary $1 or $2. These are just rough prices that I got. We have to really have Wendy or Shelley do the ordering for all that stuff and check them out further. And that's basically what, so our biggest thing right now is just that front plaques to go on them. To try to put the names on the monument, I call the Dave Johnson. They asked me how many years I had to go with files if you want to try to put everybody's name on it. And be advised, you'll be updated every 3 months. It just wouldn't even be practical. So we just wanted to put wording on it, something like that. I don't care what kind of wording we put. Maybe we just want to put a little plaque of wording. Just leave the 4 flags, 5 flags. People think that would be all right. Not even put the emblems because we've got the flag on the top. The flag will be lighting. It will be light phenomenon. I haven't got a price on any lighting yet. I'm not quite sure what we want for lighting. But we do want to remove this light pole out here and put the lights so it's going to shine up onto them. Eliminate that pole and outlet in the middle. But we got to check first to see where the power, the light pole that's out by the barbecue pit, what that runs off and if it will handle all that before we move it.
So you're saying no names, no further names on the wings, just the plaque?
Just the plaques or a wording of a plaque for all served in all boards, whatever you want to call them, because I don't know if you really call it a board. Now you're sending some over
Africa.
Africa and that. I mean, that they are deployed, so they are Well, I won't be on it.
All those things.
I don't have time to keep track of that stuff. So I don't think anybody just world. Maybe we could come up with a wording and have a plaque made. Something very simple, like kind of been trying to drive around and see what different wordings are. A lot of them just say for all who served in all branches. There's different ones. There's for those, some
Inhonorable.
some gave all, gave some. I saw that one. I think a bunch of them.
I thought about theme too.
Yes, I couldn't remember what you come up with.
Well, we talked about some gave all, but
Yeah.
I'm thought about it today and I wondered, what about a theme of from a proud and grateful town?
I'm for that. The parade committee's here. Kyle, unfortunately, I'm gonna be honest with you, I could not invite you to the thing Saturday. Because by that point, you had 3 selectmen there and it wasn't worth
Well,
it.
that's fine.
So I was meant to go fill you in. I didn't have a chance to.
That's no problem.
Ty, what do you think? From a proud and grateful town.
I think that's good.
Okay,
Yeah, I hope this gentleman doesn't here read these minutes, but we would like to dedicate that monument after to Richard Smith. He spent a lot of time and a lot of effort getting these wings for absolutely nothing. That would cost us an enormous amount of money. Just a little thing on the back. I talked to Sharon, Richard, I talked to you about it. I talked to Brian, I talked to Ty about it, just some little thing.
I have no problem with that for
I
sure.
just need to make sure all this goes legal. Last but not least, if you look at the flagpole itself, replace the one in the other parks. We're all within the ballpark of $80. It's $445. It's a top coat commercial grade sectional 20-foot flagpole. You find out the last pole that was put out there was put out by Bruce. They have no problem.
so if somebody's got their phone handy, can we add up the amount to see what,
What kind of money?
yeah,
Had that somewhere.
once you have it, I would certainly take it.
Well, if it's done properly, it's gonna be a lifetime.
Right.
You know,
Right.
eventually you have to replace the flags that you're gonna take down, but keep them from getting faded.
How about the rebar?
I'm not sure that was gonna be up to them, but when I talked about rebar, what I did was I went and measured one of Richard, remember what the side of your panel was like? Pretty cool, like
For what?
8 by 1, 8 by 1.
For what?
Well, for rebar, for mesh in the bottom, we were gonna use panels.
Yeah. Oh, 4 by 8.
4 by 8 sheets, it was gonna
Yeah,
take,
hog panels.
Yeah, bigger than that.
Yeah, 54 by,
six
they
and a half.
might even be longer. They're 54
Four
inches
little
wide.
pieces of
Yeah.
rebar, 4 little pieces of rebar around the corners to hold everything together.
That's a great idea, putting the hog panel, that's gonna be.
Yes, because it was gonna save a lot of rebar.
It's gonna save a lot of money.
I had talked to my brother.
They're about 34, 35 dollars.
They're what, 10 feet long? Hog panels, I got 54 by 120.
Okay, so $3,644, that's for all 6 brass plaques? Or just one?
For just what you see right there.
Okay. Let's just have it. Okay.
Up to 57.26, that's without any rebar. So just a best guess on the rebar.
And I don't, like I say, I don't know the price of the lighting or any of that. I just think it's
Less light.
You're not gonna have that much in rebar if you use those hog panels.
No,
Yeah, seat of the pants gets a couple hundred for mesh
that
and,
much for it.
mesh and rebar.
Both the hog panels and rebar.
Yeah,
Well, you weren't gonna use as much rebar.
You're only gonna need the rebar coils on the corners.
On the outside
The
edges,
outside edges, that's where you really need the rebar.
but then you're gonna run hog panel through the rest of it.
Right.
So if you figure if the hog panels are
but
10 feet long, It's gonna take 2.5 sections roughly for every 54 inches.
I'm not a concrete person.
So you're looking at what, four, you're looking at 5 wide. Right? Just roughly.
Yeah.
5 wide, and you're gonna be 2.5 long. So there's 10. 10, and then your edges. And so you're looking at 2, 4, you're looking at about 13 hot panels. Just rough. Yeah, your hot panels are what, 35, 40 bucks a piece now? I mean, it's been a long time since I sold one as a canvas, but
Are your wings gonna set on top of your pre-formed concrete? Or are we doing footings like the base of this one on here? Or a house? What's going first?
That is where I wish Richard and Brian were here because they were supposed to come with me.
The wings, speaking to Richard on Saturday, the wings were gonna sit just on compact crushed stone.
Okay, that's already been laid and already been compacted.
And then the slab would meet up against it when we poured the slab after the wings were in place.
So,
But
if,
I think it'd be very worthwhile to contact Harrison's in Ireland and get a quote from them and then approach them and see if either of them would consider making
The $134 a yard with both from Harrison and,
but they're just telling you the price of a yard of concrete.
right,
They can price out the whole project. for you.
right, but because we didn't know exactly how many yards, it's a 5-yard minimum where we pay a delivery fee, but it's the $134 a yard from all the concrete companies around here. We know exactly how many yards we want. Their base price is $135.
But for some good press coverage, either one of them might consider, donating.
you got, my miss here, right here in town, he does concrete business, tons of sidewalks and all that stuff, and we should approach him and see if it's something that, if we can get him some help as far as the labor end of it.
Brian and Reggie.
Those guys are all over the people.
Guys are all in concrete. Laurel Spears will help them.
Right.
Brian knows a gentleman that's got the stamp. And he was gonna, soon when we get ready, he was gonna get in contact with him and didn't think he'd be in charge on the concrete stamp.
Okay, so, yeah.
I mean, I think we should budget worst case scenario. And then hope that we can get as much done volunteer or donation as possible.
so,
Who was the fellow that subcontracted before?
That was, Menard in Sartwell.
Yeah, Sartwell. You know, one of them. They're both living down.
so we think 7,500?
I would think, whatever.
I would think outside.
What'd you come up with so far?
5926, so we gotta include the rebar and the lighting on top of that.
So I mean, say 600 bucks for rebar and hog wire and stuff just for
Well,
that.
mine's off by quite a lot, so.
I'm just thinking worst case scenario.
65. 71.
What do
Throw a contingency in it on top of it, make it 8,000.
Who's trying to speak? Was anyone trying to comment?
No.
Okay. So Shelley,
Like she's on it, I just gotta check someone, she's having trouble.
I'm on.
Nope. she's
oh,
not.
there she is. Do we have $75,000 to $8,000 available to us to appropriate to the Memorial Day?
The current balance of the Parks and Recreation is $8,456. I just looked it up. That's from prior years. I've talked with Ty about using that for this purpose before tonight.
Okay. Ty, what was the thought about that?
I haven't brought it up to our board, but that's from prior years for pretty much, correct me if I'm wrong, Shelley, but for park upkeep and maintenance line item, right?
Yes,
So I think it falls within what it was intended for.
Okay.
I don't think, and it won't affect our current fiscal year or the future one coming in July, so.
correct.
Hey, I'm jumping in a little late to the conversation. This is Mark.
Yes, Mark.
I thought that we had allocated funds, the select board allocated funds toward this project, separate from the Parks and Recreation budget.
No, we were gonna have it in, as a line item in the budget, but at town meeting, 2 town meetings ago, it kind of got put on the wayside, and we just said we'd come up with the money, and I don't think we ever did.
Okay, that was my understanding for this last town meeting, that was gonna get thrown in there, but, okay. Just checking.
Everything keeps getting cut, Mark.
Mark, as someone that's on the rec board, what is your opinion of that?
Yeah, I don't see any other big projects other than Brian's pet project of getting a gazebo in the Falls Park, but I don't know that we really have any other projects that we talked about for parks other than tree removal, and that's not quite pressing as not as much as this memorial is. We gotta get this thing wrapped up ASAP.
So could we make a motion to use that money for the Memorial Day memorial? And pending the approval of the rec board?
Bad we didn't have one more here now.
Yeah,
There's three of us here.
Oh, you have?
it wasn't warned though.
No,
Yeah.
it wasn't. So, yeah. Monday's meeting.
Put it on the agenda.
I think, Sharon, I think that it would be nice to give us the right to say, or the opportunity to approve it, but any line item, any expenditure more, for the project, going to have to go back to you guys anyways, so.
We have 3 of you there. Ty and Mark are good. I'm assuming that's Ryan that's on.
Randy's on too now, so there's actually 4 members of the board.
Okay, so Randy and Ryan, I would ask what your thoughts were on using that $8,000 for the memorial.
Does that give us enough money, Ty, to do what we need to do to get set up to maintain the ball fields?
It's not affecting this year's budget, and it's not affecting the money that you set aside to fix a field for starting after July 1's budget.
So it's just money we had.
It's the fund balance from the prior years in the Parks and Recreation from the transition period of bringing the arena back over to the town.
Gotcha.
Oh, it's just extra money dragging around. Great. Let's use that.
I'm fine with
Okay, Randy?
Hey, I was let in late, but from what I hear, I'm okay with it.
Okay. So having the quorum of the rec board, can I have a motion to appropriate that money to the memorial in the park?
I move-
Okay,
I'd like to have up to $8,000 of the accumulated fund balance. When did you get that?
I have no idea who's talking, so you better tell me.
Bruce, up to $8,000 of the accumulated recreation fund balance.
Okay,
all right,
If they need more, then we can do that later.
okay.
Second.
So second with that. All those in favor?
Aye.
Just have a point of order that I'm not sure it's appropriate for the rec committee to make decisions and motions at a meeting warned as a quorum of the rec committee. So perhaps just to cover your bases, you should do it again. and-
Yeah, we asked for their opinion. They didn't make a motion.
It's just a poll.
Yeah. Okay,
We'll throw it on our agenda and discuss it on Monday and approve it on Monday.
all right, thank you.
Yep.
What else can we do, Keith?
That's it. That's all
Okay,
I have. I just wanna let you know, I'm not gonna take too much more charge of that when it comes to all that stuff, but I think we put together and with your select board, all our meetings.
There's something before, I think, we thought dedication.
yes,
I know the fire department asked to bring it up tonight. They'd like to have a dedication, the fire pit out here to Warren Friends.
yeah,
And,
Excellent.
and if it could be done, something was brought up because we've got a dedication too that's gonna be done
yes.
pretty soon. So I don't know if there's a time down the road a little bit that we could do, I don't know, 4th of July, Labor Day or something, do those 3 dedications at that time.
Yeah, we'll set a date and do that. Okay, is there anything else for public comment?
Well, Liza is not here and she intended to be, so I fear she was unable to get in. So I did put her email in your packet. She's just requesting an opportunity to have a car seat safety check at the town offices. And she just wants your approval. It's May 29th.
On May 29th?
Mhm.
Can we have a motion to allow that?
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Anything else for public comment? I have one thing for Sue Coda, who's in charge of the bake sale for Memorial Day. They are asking for donations, but they'd like you to individually wrap them, please, as part of our safety protocol. And that's all I have for that. So,
One quick question, you might have been referring to it, but did your 3 dedications include the bridge?
Yes. That's what he was talking about. Yes.
Yeah. okay, do we have MVR on?
Joe Stell is with us.
Yes,
Chief Stell, sorry.
that's fine.
Sorry about that. I'm far enough away where I can't read the names.
Not a problem.
So how goes? The
Well,
rest?
I'll just give you a couple quick rundowns for stats and some of the things that have been going on with us. So in the first quarter of 2021, we have done 115 calls for service in the Highgate area. We had to end up turning over 4 calls for mutual aid because our trucks, two of those calls, both of our trucks were already in Highgate. We had a third call all at the same time. So it was kind of really fluky stuff. Our response time for the first quarter was a little bit longer than what we would have hoped to. It averaged out at 11.97 minutes. A lot of that was due to us getting calls for service for potential COVID patients, where the crews had to put on extra safety gear and stuff, which took considerable amount of time to get prepared to actually respond to those calls. Everybody across the state has saw those increases in response time during COVID because of having to put on the extra protective gear that the health department said we needed to put on before we left our station for those types of suspected COVID. Obviously, most of those calls were not really COVID related, but based on screening protocols, it appeared to be from a dispatch standpoint. So that lengthened our response time from previous quarters by almost about 3 minutes in all of our territory. We have been spending a tremendous amount of time working with the Department of Health in the last few months with doing in-home COVID testing in our response area for those patients that were homebound and couldn't get to one of the testing sites. We've also been working with the local clinics to help administer vaccines to get people vaccinated. And we're still continuing to do COVID testing with the Department of Health. We ran one of our clinics for COVID testing in Highgate with a lot of surveillance testing folks coming forward. We used the church there across from, I think almost across from your municipal building for that COVID testing. Things have been running well. We have basically two newer trucks on the road as our primary and a van as our third backup truck. We're currently exploring expanding our second crew for more hours of coverage so that we can both improve our response times and minimize the number of mutual aids that we have to send to. But we have actually, in the first quarter, done more mutual aids to our surrounding areas than we've had requests into our territory for mutual aid. It's been pretty, but our call volume has gone through the roof this first quarter. It's unbelievable. Any questions of me?
Yeah, unfortunately, it's my job to poke the bear.
Not a problem.
So I've had some complaints. One was not MVR, but dispatch. I had a person that called for an ambulance and they were told, why can't you just put them in the car and take them?
No, was that 911 dispatch or was that our dispatch service?
I'll have to double check, but either way, we should.
If you could get me date and time,
Yes.
I can get the 911 to pull and see if it was them, and I can also pull get the recording pulled from our dispatch so that I can figure out what was actually said on that.
Yeah, that was a little scary.
Yeah, that would definitely be scary and way out of base to tell somebody to put them in a car and transport them.
Yeah. And then this same incident And I've heard it a couple of times that people are concerned about the training of MVR because they're concerned that sometimes they're not quite sure what they're doing.
The training of MVR, all of our people are licensed by the state, having to maintain the same standards that anybody else do at particular levels, whether it be EMT, AEMT, or paramedic. We're currently in the process of adding a couple more medics to our service that are, experienced. They're in that process now. One's finishing up school here in another couple of weeks, and I think a couple of weeks, and then he's got to finish his clinicals. But being the training officer from Missisquoi, I do the quality assurance, QA/QI, and any judgment issues that we're finding, we quickly address them just like any other agency across the state. Having reviewed the majority of our calls, anything that I find that is not meeting standards gets addressed, and we go forward. And I do that for more than one agency, so I see those problems at other agencies too. But most of them don't really affect the quality of patient care. A lot of it I find mostly in documentation, but poor documentation can lead to poor patient care, so we have to address it.
And I thank you for addressing that. It's not a criticism so much as pointing out to make sure that we all provide the best for our citizens.
Absolutely. And if the public is seeing us as not providing what we should be providing, we need to, as an agency, I need to make sure we address that so that our public image is where it should be and not where they're perceiving it to be or where it might actually be. I want to make sure that we provide the best quality patient care that we can to all the citizens of our communities that we serve.
I'm very grateful for that, and I know our residents are as well. But I wanted to bring it up so that it was addressed and pointed out so that we're all on the same page and there's no backstabbing, backbiting, or any other of the other garbage that's happened previously.
Yeah, no, I greatly appreciate that. And, anytime you have those kind of complaints, I'd love to hear them, first, as quickly as possible so that if I can find a problem, we can address it then. And, I'm most concerned with the one that the first one you talked about with the dispatch issue.
Yes.
I want to run that down and make, figure out where that problem is so that can be addressed, that it never happens again.
Yeah, I can certainly do that. I will forward the date and time to you.
Okay, greatly appreciate that.
Yeah. Any other questions for MVR? Thank you for the work you do.
I got a comment, Sharon.
Yes, absolutely, Tommy.
Chief Stell, I went to the pop-up testing clinic in Franklin. I won't call out your staff member by name, but I want to commend her. The one staff member that was there to start was doing a great job for the volume of people that were there. And the second one showed up, looked like right from her primary job. And I think she did above and beyond there, and I wanted to thank her for that also. And hearing that the first quarter of this year's the call volume is skyrocketed is my concern was that I hadn't seen MVR, sitting idle around town like I did third and fourth quarter of 2020, but that makes a lot more sense that your call volume has skyrocketed. So thank you for what you guys are doing.
Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you so much for coming.
Not a problem.
Everybody stay nice and healthy and safe.
Hopefully. Thank you. Have a good night.
You too.
You too.
Okay, moving on. Shelley,
Hello.
hello. You'll be glad to know we have signed all of your previous check warrants that we had already approved.
Okay, you were okay with me condensing them to the one signature?
Yes, that was fine.
And then just tonight's check warrant is all I have for you at this meeting.
Okay, has everyone had a chance to look at the check warrant? All right, so can we have a motion to approve the check warrant?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, that one will be signed too.
Perfect, thank you.
You're very welcome. Wendy,
Hello.
hello.
Okay, so I have minutes from April 1.
Okay, has everyone had a chance to read the minutes? Can we have a motion to accept the minutes?
I'll make that motion.
All right, do I have a second?
I'll second
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
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 One extension.
Who was the second?
Richard?
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Bruce is abstaining.
Yes, he wasn't there. Yep. Okay, quickly, because we got a late start. Just dog licensing is going very well. We are at 680 with about maybe 200 more to go. I just want to remind people now that the weather's gotten good, call volume for complaints, lost and loose dogs has increased. So I just want people to be mindful of keeping their dogs on their own property. And if they're barking, please address it. Windows are open and people are noticing. So Wendy's phone is ringing a lot. And Shelby's been great. So we'll just continue to follow up on the rest of the dogs that aren't licensed throughout the rest of this month and see how that goes.
Okay.
Greenup Day and Household Hazardous Waste Day are both Saturday, May 1st. There are Greenup bags at the rear entrance of the town office and also at the library. Anything you collect, you can bring it to the town office, drop it off behind the building, or leave it roadside for pickup with the road crew on Monday, May 3rd. I just want people to be careful when they're picking up roadside. Unfortunately, drivers are not always paying attention. So please be careful. We appreciate you helping clean up the town, but just be careful. And if you do find any sharps that you want assistance with, please reach out to me or the town health officer on proper protocol for that. Or if you're not comfortable with it, Mary will certainly help with that. Because unfortunately, you do come across those kind of things during cleanup.
Yes.
Let's see. And office hours. With the governor doing the 3-step phase rollout for opening the state back up, we have come up with some office hours. We did have some concerns in the past about not being open at lunchtime. So we have tweaked our hours, and starting May 3rd, we're going to be open Monday through Thursday, 9 to 4, straight through. We're going to try being closed to the public on Fridays for the summer and see how that goes, how that is received, how we like it, how people like it. So the front door will be open starting Monday, May 3rd from 9 to 4 for routine town business. I am going to keep the title searching by appointment at least through the 4th of July. We're going to be following the universal guidance set out by the state still through the 4th of July when it then becomes recommended. So masks and distancing and all that will continue in the office when we have the public in there. So I will start advertising those new hours, and I wanted to know if you had any questions.
Oh, I think that's great.
Okay. Then that's it for me.
Okay. Heidi?
Sorry, forgot I had muted myself. The primary thing I need is the FEMA amendment. The cost overrun for phase 1 on the transfer station has been approved. So there is a copy of the agreement in the packet. It was a $10,000 cost overrun, and that is because we are being asked to hire 2 separate consultants, one for an archaeological assessment and one for an environmental assessment. And this is both before we're awarded construction funds, which is not typical. So it's $10,000 with the FEMA grant covering 7,875 and Highgate putting in 2,125.
So are you saying that you left that to be signed here?
There was one paper copy of the meeting packet on the table.
There is a copy here.
Mm-hmm. If you have trouble finding it, I can bring it to you tomorrow. It's not a problem.
No, I think I found it here. Cost overrun approval letter, other costs $79,142, federal share $59,356, total non-federal match $19,785.50.
And the only place I believe that you need to sign it is on the back sheet. There's a signature spot. Subrecipient.
Yep, I got that.
The rest is informational. The rest is a copy of the request that we submitted, the notice of award from FEMA, and some other detail on the whole project. So this has to be completed to them releasing phase 2 funds for the final design, bid documents, and construction funds.
Okay, I was just making sure that the numbers matched here. Okay. So has everyone had a chance to look at the FEMA grant agreement?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So can we have a motion to sign? Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Okay.
So I'm going to try to get out, to get a consultant hired for that project as soon as possible. So I'm going to put out those RFPs to complete the environmental assessment and the archaeological assessment.
Okay. So the signed copy will be here on the table.
Thank you.
Okay, what else we got?
So I just wanted to confirm the plan for the bids, any potential bids that we receive for the fire truck. Those will be due back on the 3rd. So I wanted to make sure you wanted those to come to the select board to open, or did you want the fire department to open those at their Monday?
No, all bids need to come through the select board.
Okay, so those will be on the next agenda, the 6th. So I wanted to know if you wanted to consider some target for vote for the airport infrastructure project. I've spoken with Wendy and Shelley, and they had some bookends that we could look at either in June or later in August. The deadline is September 30th.
What are your thoughts?
And we would have to notice a vote 30 days in advance.
I think June is gonna be, I don't think we have enough time to get the information out there. I mean, there's information galore out there. And it's not like we haven't been able to get the information out there. But is June too soon for a vote to get? I mean, I would like to see it done in June. If we're gonna do it, let's do it.
All right.
But is June too close to be able to do a spritz of PR for the project? I think there's a lot of misunderstanding on the project still. I know there's a lot of talk with what the government might do as far as state and federal for help. I've seen a lot of articles in the paper on it. Is that enough to be able to warrant a vote come June?
I agree with everything Kyle just said, plus a lot of this various and sundry federal stimulus recovery monies is still, as far as I'm understanding, is still in flux and deciding what to do with it, how to allocate it. I mean, I forget the figure, but 2 meetings ago, they fed us a bit of information about the town of Highgate potentially getting a substantial sum of monies for some sort of public project. I think the later we can wait, the better.
Just by doing it in August.
And there's also, and I think we need to plan considerable time ahead to start doing public information. It's kind of an old rule of thumb. Tell people what you're going to tell them, then tell it to them, and then tell them what you told them. And yeah, there's been some great stuff in the press about this project. Great stuff. I mean, hopefully it can be kept up, and then we can do some public information meetings and get Mr. Carr involved in one of them at some point in time. And whoever else it would seem would be beneficial to us to be part of the information, part of it and information meeting. So quite a bit of planning. I think it's worth putting into it. Yeah.
I mean, the Memorial Day parade would be perfect time and people are driving through for their barbecue. Granted, not everybody's going to be from Highgate buying barbecue, but you know, we'll have information that can be handed out at that time. Actual.
Right.
I don't know.
Thanks, Matt. You can eat from, it has all the information on it.
Okay.
You have to read it. I agree with these guys. I think June, we're in almost mid-April now. June's only 2.5 months away. The press is going right now. There's 4 articles in the Select package. I read them in the paper. They're all great. We need to have one of those like every 2 weeks out there so everybody can get to know maybe some of the figures, the return on investment. I haven't seen that really yet, but potential return on investment along with some of those articles, I think would really help out. Jobs, money, all that coming back from the investment.
Right.
Infrastructure.
I have been collaborating with Kathy Lavoie and Bethany on getting a campaign going with support from Jeff. So we're hoping, and I have been reaching out to some residents to say, what are your questions? What are you hearing for questions, to find out um, exactly what we need to address. And we hope to put together a flyer to circulate. And I was talking with a couple residents about trying to put together also a list of supporters and to start a campaign of letters to the paper as well. Personal people sharing their opinions. So we would have to warn a vote 30 days in advance. So there's another month that you have to get it out there. There's a lot that could be done for promotion. We've talked about trying to get a student from the tech center to do a video as well. And we could post that and circulate that as well.
Okay. I would agree with Vern. We need some concrete information. Try not to push so hard the outside of Highgate and try to drill a little bit more down into the actual residents and taxpayers of Highgate. We are a fussy bunch, and I don't want to make it look like other people are telling us what to do. You know what I mean?
Got it. Yep, got it.
So let's revisit the cost as far as what it would be in additional monies for the town to operate this, to maintain it. Possible bond payments. How much would this actually cost your average taxpayer? Or how much could we drill down and say it would be 2 cents on every $100 worth of value? Or let's put it in some really concrete terms.
Sharon, I think you also need to get a list of skeptics and naysayers too, and
Absolutely.
see what their concerns are. You know, I'm a skeptic of it.
Yeah.
I'll be the first one to admit that. But if my concern is, you know, I know that, you know, the developer is competing with other people in other places and doesn't want to say what may be up their sleeves to come in if this project happens. But if I was to be told, you know, yeah, we could put an aviation tech school in for the high school kids, and it may guarantee 3 or 4 high school kids a job in aviation after they graduate, bam, you just got my vote. You know, I think maybes and hearing the maybes and the potentially 1,200 jobs over the course of the next 15 years, that just gives me a lot of skepticism.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's been an issue with this project. There's been so many moving pieces that it's very difficult to pin down exactly what's going on.
Well, Ty's topic is one of the things that has been nailed down. The district school board did sign a letter in support of the project and saying that they're very eager to expand an aviation mechanics program at the airport. They're wholeheartedly invested in that. So
I can tell you right now that,
Pardon?
I can tell you right now, because I'm working down out at Orleans Airport right now, but the tech school down there, they're looking for mechanics. And right now, if you're up here, you got to go down there and get schooled. Whereas if we had a school up here, people would have to travel once again. And there would actually be a need here. If there were more aircraft up here, you'd have to base more mechanics. More people would want to live here and get into the whole tax base thing again. And it just, it's a good thing. Good paying job too. Aviation mechanics, pretty good paying job. Even right now, start 18, 20 years old, you makes pretty good coin.
Yeah.
That's not. That's
what you do for a living, so.
So let's
So,
around to date.
Can somebody work out a timeline? Putting together 2 or 3 informational meetings and then. Of course, you could schedule a vote before the informational meetings are all done.
was there a drop dead date we have to have this done by for the grants? I think it was something.
September something.
September 30th.
September 31st.
There's only 30
There's only
days.
30 days in September.
Federal government for you.
Okay, so September 30th, then we gotta win it.
I suppose that's
30 days
probably
prior.
February 30th.
Yeah.
August is the end of summer. Everybody's still gonna be vacationing, especially with all the pent up demand.
When school
Really
start
no
up?
good.
When does school start up again?
On the
That's
26th
tough.
of August.
It's a tough one because I really would like to see the vote done earlier than later, but I think Ty's suggestion of getting naysayers is the best thing to do.
But no,
Get those people to give their opinion of why they're against the project or and why, and then
Yeah.
you can, we can find out and get the exact answers rather than guesses and maybes, like you said, Sharon. So and to me, I just don't know if we have time enough to do that for a warning in May and then vote in June.
Right.
And not knowing we may have a lot more idea what's going to go on with the federal money come summer, which will make a lot of people's minds up for them right there. It's not going to cost a huge money out of their pocket.
Right.
So I think that the date should be later than earlier.
Yeah.
As much as I would love to see it in June, as I really would, but to be fair and to, the hard part is to pick the date of the vote, like Vern said. There's people going to be getting out this year. They're not going to be locked down for another summer.
Yeah.
And people are going to be out, and so you want as many people to have the opportunity to vote as possible.
I think either late in August or early in September. Because,
When's first week of school? Anybody know?
It usually starts about the 26th of August.
I would say that week then. I try to schedule a vote the last week of August. Everyone would be back from vacation. Somewhat paying attention.
August 31st is a Tuesday.
How would that work for you and Shelley, Wendy?
That works
think-
fine for me.
I think that was one of the days that we discussed would be a good one with Heidi for the same reasons.
So August.
Probably,
Yep, their proposed dates in June and their proposed dates for August are in the town, my report. So there were 3 dates they offered in June, the 15th, 22nd, and 29th, and then August, the 17th, 24th, and 31st. So, well, let me get with the group again and see how quickly we can get some information together and put a timeline together and get back to you at your next meeting.
Okay. But right now, we're at a tentative date of August 31st.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
There's a bunch of money on the recovery, the stimulus funds in there. Most of it is information you have already had some points on. And the good news is that VLCT will be hiring a full-time employee to help towns come up with their final plans to spend the money, to meet the criteria outlined in the act.
Right.
So more details to come.
Okay. Any questions for Heidi? Anything else, Heidi?
No, I just wanted to put in a plug that the Village Core Master Plan hopes to meet on the 27th. We're hoping to do that in person. So the plan is to meet on the Village Core property in the garage, have the doors open and be spread out far enough to avoid any non-compliance. So the board is all invited to join in that process. And this is the almost complete report for the Village Core wastewater plan. April 27th. Sorry?
6 o'clock, correct?
Yes.
So I had a question for Heidi.
Absolutely.
Heidi, since you've been talking with VLTC, it sounds like they're with that appointing that position. Did they have any further information on other funding for economic recovery? Of course, I'm focused on the rink, so, or the recreation department.
Yep, understood. And there's a ton of information, Mark. And I've attended a couple chats on it with VLCT. There is criteria. They are trying to make towns whole for losses. The only thing that VLTC is saying at this point is that it is very likely that those are appropriate uses of funds. So there are no concrete answers, yes, but it is very likely.
Well, I'm a little bit of a greedy type. So if the monies that the town was going to be assessed anyways could be retained, and then our department, or, you know, the recreation department with their loss be made whole outside of that, I think that would be great if we could source funding in that manner, not just rely on the, I think that it was 360 or something like that. 360,000. It'd be good for the town to receive that as a whole, and not, I mean, obviously they still would be receiving it as a whole, but if we didn't have to chip our piece out of that.
Agreed.
It'd be great.
I think that would be ideal. So the 360 is the first allocation. There will be a lot of money coming through other avenues besides this direct payment to the towns. So,
Okay.
but I believe what we're anticipating to get is 360,000 around June, early June. And then there will be more money that comes through the county that is then divided out to the towns as well. And that's based more on a town's operating budget, I believe. So there will be additional funding there. There's also the governor's plan for spending money as well. So it could come in many different forms.
Right.
But
I know Lee's made contact already about the after-school program that they were talking about last Friday, funding for that. So the Highgate summer camp, he's got us on the books trying to get some funding for that as well. So we priced it pretty low, almost too low, but without additional funding. So we're hoping that helps out with Camp Highgate. Had you had an opportunity to contact any of the other facilities? I know I emailed you that list of other towns that had facilities that were shuttered as well.
No, I did not. I talked to VLTC and they basically said that sounded like a decent use of those funds.
Okay.
So I have not put any more effort into going any further. There was a fund that was taking losses that closed out in December. So that one's not there. I don't know if they will reopen a specific program like that again. I guess it depends how the rollout goes. If everything goes back to normal without incident and we can stay open. But right now, all we have are likelihoods and
Right.
assumptions. So
For a
hopefully
year now.
more direction soon.
Right.
Yeah, I know you guys are on pins and needles and it makes sense, but
Yeah, we want to move forward, but we don't want to go too far forward, and it's been like that for over a year now. It's very stressful.
you're not alone.
Yeah. That's all I had.
I would ask the board while we're here, what their thoughts are of the money that's coming into the town. I would like to think that we could assure the rec committee that whether or not they receive other funding, that they would be funded with that money that's coming in. Because they are the biggest.
Money intended to them.
Exactly what I was meant.
Right.
Right, I mean,
I would
they,
completely agree.
they are the biggest sufferers from COVID in our town is the rec department. You know, as far as what the town has
Lots.
for, right. So, yeah, I'd like to think that you could go ahead, Mark, with those programs that you wanted, that you will be reimbursed with monies that the town receives from the state.
Well, fortunately, we were in a pretty good position before COVID hit, and we were able to maintain, but those losses were significant, and there was like big money items that we wanted to get to that we felt were really important, and we're kind of like the ball field redos, so we were kind of holding the reins back on that just because of that. And there were a few other projects that we wanted to get done or wanted to get started anyways. But the programming side of it, we're designing most of those programs to be self-funded through fees. I mean, not all of them, but we do have a little bit of operational budget, but the return on our losses would be to make life a lot easier on us and would really be much more comfortable. We do have a position that we'd like to have filled eventually. And right now we don't see the numbers on it the way we sit currently, but such is life.
I'm speaking for myself, but for me, you guys would be a priority for any monies that we receive for COVID relief.
Oh, we appreciate that for sure.
And I would.
Yeah, priority number one in my book.
I appreciate that from everybody.
That's me.
Thanks, Vern.
So yeah, that you could go forth and do your projects.
Like you said, the vast majority of the loss was to them.
Right.
So the vast majority of the money should go to them. I mean,
Yeah.
that's what the whole purpose of this was.
Right.
I appreciate that. We will go forth and recreate freely.
Yes, yes. And don't forget the seniors and the middle-aged.
Oh yeah, we've got Lee working on that. We've got Lee working on a few of those things too.
That's right. Perfect. Okay.
Hey.
Before we go to select board, Keith, did you have something?
Yeah, I had one more incident. This is my own, nothing to do with the town, but Is there an ordinance in town about, day breaks?
No, I don't think
There is a noise ordinance.
There is a noise ordinance. Well, it's getting irritating because I pulled St. Armand Road from the railroad track to my house, all over people.
Right.
Those things are starting anywhere at 4 o'clock in the morning, most of the mornings, and running, even during the day, and I don't feel any reason for that. Right out here Saturday morning, you heard them all morning. People are getting a little upset with that when there are other people trying to sleep and do things. I spoke to a couple people, and Richard knows who I spoke to. It does no good. You got a 19-year-old driving a manure truck, and he's using the jake brakes, and they want to burn up brakes. I think something needs to be done in order for the not even should be used in the village. It's been a concern now for quite 2 years. We have got them to slow down on
Right.
the St. Armand Road. Brake takes are still.
What is he asking about an ordinance for? What, Jake breaks?
Jake breaks.
Yeah.
Okay,
You know what those are, Wendy?
There's some you guys could look into. I know they have them in other counties.
I do.
My only concern would be that if it's a difference between using a jake brake and not hitting somebody, or using a jake brake, part of that is not just the noise. It's actually slowing down.
Richard, correct me if I'm wrong. The comment that I got twice was, don't want to burn my brakes out.
Yeah.
If you're gonna use the jake brakes in this village, cross the rail tracks, they're
You're
gonna make
going
them
too
fast.
fast. Yeah, I think that right there is the big thing. We,
I've seen other towns that use signage with, times of day,
I know they gotta spread the material, and it goes on all summer.
My issue with any ordinance is unless if you got somebody who's gonna enforce the ordinance.
Right.
We can make an ordinance and that nobody's gonna enforce it,
yeah, I
why do the ordinance?
guess I'd rather see the police sit
I mean,
in a high jake brake area and start writing tickets.
I will comment, the local police department in the last 3 weeks have been really good. They're here all hours of the morning.
Yeah.
Including 3:35 in the morning when I blew the stop sign at the Hazardous. I know I got it. They warned me. But they're, whether he was on patrol at Highgate or not, I don't know, it was a state
Right.
police officer. But they're around and he was out there, we were out in the park asking questions, wanting to know our opinions of what they're doing, where we should be looking. And very good, I got a lot of praise for him right now.
Good.
Other than that, have a nice night.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Cows are in the barn, by the way.
That's a good segue into the fact that St. Albans Police Department will be on your next agenda.
Yeah.
Be doing an update, and we have had a couple of complaints about ATVs lately that I forwarded to them, so they're chatting with some people, so I have invited a resident to join in the meeting to bring up the ATV issues again. So anybody who has any issues can come to the May 6th meeting, and St. Albans Police Department will be here represented.
Okay. The use of the rail trail by walkers and bikers has exploded. I am so happy to see so many people out using that trail. They're walking their dogs, which I always did anyway there, but walking their dogs, children, families, bikes. It's wonderful. It's great.
Horses.
Just make sure they don't get run over by a four-wheeler.
Very sure.
Ty?
Oh, I just said horses are used, people on horses.
Oh, I haven't seen that yet.
Yeah, that was last weekend.
Oh,
seen remnants, but I've never
Seen
seen.
remnants.
So it's nice to see that. So that is a boon to get people out and about. The other thing I wanted to mention was that for those people that were concerned about us doing a Memorial Day parade, we have been in contact with the governor's office. And actually Keith spoke directly to the governor, who was very excited to see that we were gonna open up a little bit, take some precautions, make our route a little longer and space ourselves out some, but was very pro Memorial Day parade for Highgate. So we have the approval of the governor. We're not going to be in trouble. If you are concerned, by all means, stay in your vehicle. There's plenty of space to park on the Highgate Falls Highgate Falls Park. You can park on both sides. You wouldn't have to get out of your vehicle at all if you didn't want to. But come out and enjoy. We are one of the only towns that will be having a parade. So,
Really?
Yeah.
Aaron, is this on traditional Memorial Day? Nobody set a date.
Yeah.
May
it's on-
31st?
Yeah.
Okay.
And Wendy, if you can blast that out to the public, that would be wonderful.
I can do that.
Thank you. Anything else for the select board items?
I've got a couple that I wanted to ask about.
Yeah.
The Macy road stabilization project.
Mhm.
I wonder if contact has been made with Mrs. Young, where we're at with that.
It has not been made with Mrs. Young. Will still need to have to sign off on the right-of-way permits.
Right.
Heidi, have those right-of-way papers been completed yet?
We have a design. They did do a right-of-way design. We will need to get temporary easements from 3 landowners. They are currently being reviewed by AOT. And until we get their approval, we won't be approaching anybody.
Okay. My second question was, I know they had talked about paving Lincoln Street this year as part of one of their paving projects. From the church to Mill Hill, along that new sidewalk, there's a slash of about 2 feet wide, maybe, of grass, which is generally mud. Is it possible to have that road paved to the sidewalk? To get rid of that little bit of dirt.
Right.
Because every time it rains, a substantial rain, I mean heavy, somebody hits that, ruts it up, it's just a mess. From the Catholic Church to Mill Hill, along that sidewalk, there's a little slash of some grass, mostly topsoil mud,
Right.
dirt. And I'm just wondering if we'd be a lot better to pave that when they do that project.
Right.
I know there's a water issue,
Yeah, I was
especially in
just
front of
gonna
the
say.
Catholic Church. And is there any way that water issue can be helped? It can't be solved, because I do notice driveways are higher than what that would be, almost to make that like a little bit of a,
But it goes a little ways. Don't it go from the Catholic Church to Bobby Graham's and David Rouse's? Don't it run?
the sidewalk, I believe, stops.
No, I know the
Oh, with
sidewalk.
the water itself.
Yeah.
But hydro, it pools awful up in front of Bob Graham's and David Rouse's, yes. But I didn't know if there was any way by paving that, if we could help funnel some of that water to Mill Hill and down into the culvert there. Rather than, if that would help that problem at the same time. I don't know, I'm not a road engineer, it just looks like a common sense thing to do.
Well, I can speak to what our engineers said when they made it. And that was that it's cheaper to build sidewalk without a curb in the areas where the sidewalk is right on the road. You have to have a curb to protect a walker, to separate a pedestrian from a car. So if you pave the road right up to the sidewalk, you're removing that little muddy grass space that's supposed to be a protection. So perhaps if there, if we could quantify a problem, a reason, they might reconsider that. But
Yeah,
the separation is supposed to be a safety.
having a separation, having mud between the paved road and the sidewalk is supposed to be a safety feature. I'm assuming this is the same engineer that puts the sidewalks along in front of the Catholic church is covered every time there's a heavy rain.
That would be one.
Whole lot of common sense not being used. So I would think that we could convince somebody that that's just stupid. But that's just one person's opinion. Who's not an engineer? Thank you, Heidi. I didn't
Ask the question.
I didn't realize that was part of the design, Heidi. Thank you for.
Okay, so
I can ask the question.
Thank you.
I have one last thing, and that is, we have been having some complaints about junkyard showing up in town or becoming a bigger issue than they were before. I can tell people that we are addressing the issue. We have one particular issue that is gone to the state's attorney, and the state's attorney is back on it. And that is a court case that the state is involved with that landowner. So no names are mentioned on purpose because of liability issues, but rest assured that we are not sleeping on the job as far as that enforcement goes, that things are happening behind the scenes. It's unfortunate that has taken so long, but part of the reason is, of course, COVID. So just to assure people that things are being done. So
And it's a
hold tight.
process.
It
It's
is a process. So hopefully with spring cleaning, people can get their stuff sorted out and state can do what it needs to do, and the town residents can be assured that things are moving. So before we close, I would say stay safe, everyone. We have several incidents of COVID in the town that have led to hospitalizations. So let's keep good thoughts and make sure everybody stays safe. So I would take a motion to exit the regularly scheduled select board meeting and enter into executive with the recreation board. Wendy and Rick Trombley if he's on.
He was.
His ceiling, just his ceiling is on.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
I
Aye. Thank you all for joining us.